And some of you may have seen Nancy Grace talk about this. There was a boy found in it's like a sleeping bag. I had a picture of it, but I can't find it now. But it's like a sleeping bag, but it's like a pod. North Carolina authorities have revealed the harrowing details that they believe led to the death of a 12-year-old boy one day after he was taken to a troubled teens therapy camp in Lake Toxaway in Transylvania County. The child, who people is not naming, was smothered and died from asphyxiation on February 3rd, and his death has been ruled a homicide by the Transylvania County Medical Examiner's Office. He was found unresponsive by counselors on the morning of February 3rd at Trails Carolina, a self-described adventure therapy program that works with teenagers with behavioral concerns. The report, which was obtained by People, details the circumstances surrounding his death. One night, this is the thing, right here. It's right here. His head was at the foot, and his legs were at where the zipper is, and his pants were down, y'all. On the night he arrived at the camp, the boy was placed in a bivvy, a small camping tent that encloses a sleeping bag. Quote, without incident. At the camp, the bivvies are placed on plastic sheets, which are then folded up the sides like a canoe, per the report. Camp protocol requires the mouth of the bivvy to be covered with an alarm device to alert counselors if the occupant tries to leave the bivvy. It's shut down now, retired. Because the internal mesh section of the child's bivvy was torn, the camp used the weather-resistant door on the outer layer of the bivvy to secure the boy inside of it, the report states. The alarm device was added to this door. While the boy was inside, he was moving around and making sounds, prompting counselors to remove him. Once he was outside the bivvy, he relaxed and fell asleep, investigators learned. However, he was eventually made to sleep back inside the bivvy. And once again, counselors noted the boy moving inside until about 1 a.m. While there were routine checks during the night, the outer layer of the bivvy, which is opaque, didn't allow counselors to see the child, per the report. In the morning, when the counselors couldn't wake him up, they allegedly opened the bivvy to find the boy with his head in the enclosed corner of the bivvy and his feet at the opening of the weather-resistant door. So his head was at the feet, suffocated. I don't know, Casper. It's sick. But you know what? Yeah, this one's closed, but there's tons of them. They're all out, they're all over still. Wilderness camps. Why is this even a thing? They had a license through the state of North Carolina. They had an NPI number for billing. The medical examiner noted that the alarm placed on the bivvy's opening and the plastic sheet surrounding the bivvy were factors that caused restriction of breathing for the child. The child was found half clothed, and this is what they're saying, suggesting that he could have suffered hypothermia because the construction of the sleeping area could have led to higher temperature. Really?
If you say Ferris Bueller, you lose a testicle.
Bullshit. What did they do to him when they took him out? You know? Bivvies typically come with a product warning on the outer weather-resistant opening. Should not be fully covered as it could result in condensation and breathing restriction. Immediately following the child's death, it gets worse. The camp issued a statement saying they were shattered about the death and were cooperating with the investigation. The Transylvania County Sheriff's Office, however, said the camp has not completely cooperated. The camp has since been closed, and the state has since said it's revoking its license. The camp has said it conducted an internal investigation of the incident, which, quote, concluded there is no evidence that trails failed to properly supervise, no evidence that trails caused harm, and no evidence that conditions at trails were unsafe or unhealthy. It wasn't clear as of Wednesday if any charges have been or would be filed. Maddening, isn't it? The frick. So I go back in time. And I find this article from 2021. Let's watch this video. We might get a little ad beforehand, but let's watch this video from...
Hi, Kate Claire.
This is 2021. Oop, fuck. My bad. You might have to listen to Kate because... Oh, here. I guess I can mute her here. This is, again, from 2021. And this is from WB-TV.
From their homes and sent from all across the country to a camp in western North Carolina, all in the name of therapy.
But WBTV's chief investigative reporter Nick Oxner has uncovered troubling stories and a trail of violations that suggest the program designed to help children may be doing the opposite.
The only thing I heard was my dad say, I love you, these people are going to take care of you now.
Kathleen Riley is describing the night she was sent to a wilderness camp more than 500 miles from home in 2012.
The man said, get the F up, you're going to camp. I said, what are you talking about? And he said, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And he had restraints, and he said, the police have been notified, you are a danger to yourself and others. If you run, I will tackle you. Your flight leaves in 2 hours. We have to leave now.
She was taken to the airport and flown to North Carolina, specifically to a therapeutic wilderness program called Trails Carolina. Trails' website says it's designed to help children and teens with a range of emotional and behavioral disorders, with personalized treatment plans and one-on-one therapy. When Kathleen got there, she was strip searched, given 2 pairs of clothes, and introduced to the group she'd be living in the woods with.
These are called therapeutic wilderness programs.
Yes.
Did you get much therapy?
There's no real therapy that happens.
Conditions were sparse. No plumbing, no buildings, even a 17-day stretch without a shower, she says. A group of nearly a dozen kids with 2 or 3 staff members deep in the woods.
For nearly a week, eyes in Jackson County have turned to the sky and to maps in the search for missing 17-year-old Alec Lansing.
2 years after Kathleen's time at Trails, 17-year-old Alec Lansing died when he ran away from his Trails group, climbed up a tree, fell into a creek, and broke his femur.
Alec Lansing died from injuries and exposure.
He was found dead 12 days later. The investigation report by the
Fell out of a tree, found 12 days later.
Carolina Department of Health and Human Services shows trail staff waited more than 5 hours before calling police to report the missing teen. And the sheriff's deputy involved in the search said they may have been able to find the teen had they been notified in time to send search crews the day he went missing. After DHHS's findings, Trails was given a $12,000 fine and cited for failing to supervise a student. Nothing else happened. In a statement, a DHHS spokeswoman said they found the improper supervision that led to Lansing dying was an isolated incident.
That the people that spend the majority of the time with them are not trained therapists.
Jonathan Hyde worked at Trails for 6 weeks last summer. He was paid minimum wage as a guide.
I had kids that were vocally suicidal. I had kids that tried running away. I had kids that would try and fight you.
With nearly a dozen teens and just 3 staff members, Hyde says adequate supervision was often hard.
Plenty of times where we both had to, 2 out of, the 3 staff had to go focus on one individual. The question of supervision there, effective supervision comes into question.
Hyde says he got just 3 days of training.
If I was a parent, I'd be pretty pissed to find out what the actual therapy that happens. It does happen, it's on a scheduled basis, but the time that they actually meet with a licensed therapist is very minimal.
It harmed all of us, our whole family.
Heidi Riley is Kathleen's mom.
When you made the decision to send Kathleen to Trails, what did you think you were doing?
We thought we were helping her get some therapeutic help.
In a recent letter to North Carolina state senators, a lawyer for Trails Carolina confirmed participants only receive 1 to 2 hours of individual therapy a week and 2 hours of group therapy a month.
1 to 2 hours a week and 2 to 4 monthly. You guys, this place costs $715 a day, and it costs $4,900 to register. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Thank you, Titties, for donating a membership. Who was the lucky recipient? Barry Happy, welcome. Barry Happy, make sure you thank Titties for your membership.
So you sent your daughter to get therapy.
Yes.
Is that what she got?
To get help no, I don't think she got that. I think she was emotionally abused. It's tough because that decision, that's a tough one to live with. Definitely.
I remember making every night, praying to a God I don't even believe in, saying, if you get me out of here, I promise I will do whatever I can to help whatever child so they don't have to go through this.
What are the long-lasting effects from your time at Trails?
I have severe sleep issues. I have a lot of abandonment issues, a lot of anxiety, panic disorder. It's not normal. It's not humane, and it's just not what it does to your brain. You still don't even want to admit to it. It's just like it's still there, and they have that power over you.
So you spend most of the time in the woods.
Yes.
With people who aren't trained therapists.
No.
But who are
Yes.
but who are deciding what you're doing every day.
Mm-hmm.
And they call that therapy?
Yeah, part of the process, part of the program.
What would you call it?
Abuse.
It's awful.
Jamie Maureen, the executive director of Trails Carolina, wouldn't answer our questions on camera, but she did send a statement through a spokeswoman that says, in part, quote, since its founding, Trails has helped make a difference in the lives of more than 2,800 adolescents today. We are proud of all that our 200-employee workforce does to help others. Now,
oh, screw off. This is 2021. This is 2021.
the violation cited after the teen's death in 2014 was one of 50 violations Trails was cited for from
2014, another kid died. 2014, another kid died. So hello, Cricket. So in 2014, a kid died. 2021, we had these complaints. They've had over 50 complaints at this point. They were still open for a child to die there in February.
And through 2019, it's licensed by the State Department of Health and Human Services, but records reveal lax oversight and enforcement. So I'll join you at 7:30 on Your Side Tonight, Jamie, to learn more about that.
Looking forward to that terrific report.
Yeah, under the care of DHS. Under the care of frickin' DHS. Seymour ignorance. I lived in a Camp Eckerd, Newport, North Carolina. I stayed for 4 years. Most stay for 11 months. Federal funds. What? They're shut down now since this kid died. Frankie sent her son to one. You were sent there from West Virginia for skipping school or missing school by your parents? I've got more information on this camp. Hold on. We're going to show these DHS reports. Yeah, it does, Jess. It does. It's sick. DHS hires pedos sometimes, like that Santa guy that was arrested for SA in St. Cloud, Florida. James Cox. His son Henry, who shot himself, who was producing the child prawn, he worked for the foster system in Florida, DHS, and adopted a kid. Hey, Patrick. I know I've got a clip of her as well. Camp Imahenu. I don't know what that means. No, this is in North Carolina. So this is a website called unsilenced.org. Oh, I'm not doubting your experience, Seymour. I'm really sorry that you went through that. If you'd like to come on the show and discuss your experience, I would love to host you. If you'd like to send me an email and give you a chance to share your experience there. I mean, I think we need to shed light on the fact that there's still camps like this that are running that have had numerous complaints. So this is unsilenced.org. And here's my email. I just put it in the chat. Vision Quest. If you've had any experiences with camps like this, email me. And we can do a panel discussion. If you've had an experience at one of these wilderness or troubled teen camps, email me and let's talk about this. Now is the time. Oh, that is awful, Cricket. So it says here, this is in particular about this Trails Academy, is what they call it. And it's for boys and girls ages 10 to 17. Length of stay, average stay is 12 weeks. That's 3 months. Does the program have a level phase? Yes. But you'll notice, too, that all of their websites mainly are gone. I was able to find the owners. And they look like freaking brother and sister. And just FYI, the owners are Mormon. I believe. Wait, maybe I'm getting these cases confused. Never mind. Don't hold me to that Mormon thing. I'd have to look that up. I'm thinking of a different family. I'm thinking of a murder-suicide that happened. They were Mormon. Okay, so we're not going to open each one, but I will put this in the description of the video so you guys can see it. There's a complaint. This is a survivor story. Abuse in 2017. My Trails Carolina story. I found out they lied. Trauma. I went to a wilderness program and it has made my life miserable. These are all survivor stories. And then These are random, talking about different camps. But up here, you'll see there's witness accounts, and then there is a staff list. The executive director is Graham Shannonhouse. Now, if we look up Graham, this is her. That's her. It's like Jody, what's her name? 2.0. Hang on. There she is. She's the owner of this joint. Were they, Cricket? You think that's what happened to Sebastian? kidspeace.org NC. What's that? Okay, so that's her. That's Graham. She's the starter of this. And then we have this dude, Nick Pearl, Trails Academy. Now I'm not finding the dude's picture, but here is they have therapists listed. This is all their names too. Crazy. Director of student. All these people should be investigated, in my opinion. In North Carolina, the criminal statutes of limitation are 2 years on most misdemeanors and no statute of limitation on malicious misdemeanors and felonies. So these people who were harmed can still press charges. But here are some of the program documents because they have deleted their website. Hi, Myron. It's pulling up a web archive. I think maybe it won't come up. I don't know. I don't think that link's going to work anymore. Here is another report from 2022. Wilderness therapy was supposed to help these troubled teens. It traumatized them instead. Body found Saturday in search for missing teen. This is 2014. And this is that boy that died there. Searchers found at midday Saturday what they believe is the body of an Atlanta teenager who had been missing since Monday in a remote area of Nantahala National Forest in southern Jackson County. Alex Sanford Lansing, 17, had been camping with a group from Trails, Carolina, an organization based in Lake Toxic Away, that provides wilderness therapy for youths with a range of problems. A cause of death has not been determined, but there's no sign of foul play. Western North Carolina saw unusually cold temperatures during much of the period Lansing was missing. Lansing had walked away from a counselor during the trip, and Queen said Saturday that the body was found fairly close to where the Trails Carolina group had been. The terrain in the area off the Heady Mountain Road off North NC 107, a few miles south of Cashiers, is rugged and treacherous, Queen said. So much that searchers considered summoning a helicopter to remove the body. About 80 to 100 searchers were looking for Lansing on Saturday. So that happened back in 2014. And they still had numerous complaints. This place was even open during COVID. Can you imagine how many people were going here during COVID? Look at this. Trails Carolina COVID prevention plan protects students and staff during the pandemic. We have been following the CDC guidelines since March of 2020, says Jeremy Whitworth, program director. Maybe that's the guy that looks like that Graham chick's brother. Yes, it is. It's him. Oh, he has a mugshot? Oh my God. Why? Is that the same dude right here? Is that him? You guys. Is that his mugshot in the middle? Please say it's not. It says Jeremy Whitworth mugshot. Is that the same dude? What? Jeremy Whitworth, 36, booked for compulsory school attendance violation? What the hell does that mean? This is Indiana. Anyways, this is the guy that runs the school. Okay, here's something they released, a statement. Let's take a look at this. Trails Carolina media statement. February 16th, 2024. So this is after the child died. This is after the child died in February. Oh, for his kid not going to school. After 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on February 15th, DHHS threatened and intimidated parents by demanding parents travel from all over the country to pick up their children, or DHHS would take their children into custody. Their children were receiving high-level clinical care for complex mental health diagnoses, requiring experienced professionals with full knowledge of critical medications and specialized treatment regimens. Normally, locating alternative programs and matching children for placement takes several weeks. This negligent and reckless move by the state denied parents the opportunity to continue to care for their children in the appropriate manner. 100% of parents did not want their children to leave the program. This kid dies and they want us to believe that none of the parents wanted their kids home. Parents believe the program is safe and do not want their children's treatment disrupted by the state, which has continued to make reckless decisions based on false and misleading information. Local experience and knowledgeable DSS social workers on site have indicated in written reports and conversations with program staff that kids are safe, properly supervised, and at no risk of harm. Previously undisclosed by the sheriff was the illegal and unauthorized removal of 4 young boys, ages 10 to 12, on the evening of February 6th. The boys were detained at the sheriff's office until 1 a.m. Parents called the sheriff to prevent the infliction of further trauma on the boys who had not yet been informed of the tragedy. Parents were lied to, as the sheriff stated he did not have custody of the children and the children were not on the premises. We grieve with the family of the student who tragically passed and have promised to do everything we can to determine what happened. Based upon preliminary findings by state agencies, internal investigation, information and conversations with officials, staff, and known experts, everything points to an accidental death. The Transylvania County Sheriff's Office has maintained a biased approach in what appears to be an attempt to close a program that has treated and helped restore and heal more than 2,700 families and saved lives. The impact of the state's reckless actions is far-reaching. The 18 vulnerable children forced to leave a safe healing space against their parents' wishes have suffered permanent, serious, and unnecessary harm. There are limited places where parents can turn to find the necessary care for severe mental health diagnosis and complex treatment. This is a tragic and unnecessary loss for parents, children, and 75 plus staff members who have poured their heart and soul into helping kids. The sheriff and DHHS likely did not have the evidence to close the program and take its license through appropriate and generally accepted judicial review. No, bitches. Someone died and it was your fault. Oh my God. This is horrible. Calling and intimidating parents to pick up their children was an attempt to achieve their nefarious goal while avoiding fair and appropriate due process with full factual disclosures. And then on February 16th, here is the state of North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services sending this to that creep, Jeremy Whitworth, notice of suspension of admissions. The Trails program saved our family. Our sadness and grief for the family that lost their son weighs heavily. As we manage through the aftermath of such a tragic loss, we face a wall of distorted media coverage and disinformation from groups seeking publicity and clout. It is not only disrespectful to the family, it is disheartening to witness how inaccurately our work is being represented. We are grateful for the outpouring of support we have received from you. We are pulling needed strength from your kindness. We are also hearing from our alumni families in the wake of this tragedy. Welcome, September Pours. Sadly, you won't see these letters in media reports or on public forums, but their kind words are a salve to our wounds at a time when our work is being twisted by the negative narrative that is being feverishly sown online. We hope you, too, can find comfort in these words as we all continue in our work on behalf of children and families. We've removed any personal information from these notes to avoid these families being targeted for their support. Unbelievable, right? Lynn, no one's buying it. And this is Jeremy. Right here. With his jaws. Jeremy's jaws. Scary, isn't it? Would you put these people in charge of your family? Here's another one. Amanda Mojave, primary therapist. These people are licensed by the state. No, they're not. No, Cricket. That's nope. You need to search up. They're in every state pretty much that allows it. Hey, Subaru. They are in Michigan even. You would think it's just in Utah, but it's not. Again, $715 a day. Look at this, celebrating 15 years. $715 a day and $4,900 to sign up. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of abuse that goes on in these things. I mean, your guess is good as mine of what they do. Trails, Carolina horror stories. I mean, scary. But this guy here scares me more than anything, to be honest. Ugh. It makes me sick. So here's another young girl that was traumatized by her experience there and shared her experience. This is one of their poster girls that they use to advertise. Here's another one they use to advertise. It's really disturbing. They make it look all wholesome and shit. It's very disturbing. There's one in Hickory, Hendersonville, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you be terrified if this dude was in charge of you? Let's go to this article. See what they have to say about this guy. Oh, here's a video. They got his toothy ass right here on the front.
There are 3 simple changes I tell all of my arthritis patients to make. Number 1.
Oh, I can skip it. Sorry, guys.
A group of nearly a dozen kids with 2 or 3 staff members deep in the woods.
For nearly a week, eyes in Jackson County have turned to the sky and to maps in the search for missing 17-year-old Alec Lansing.
2 years after Kathleen's time at Trails, 17-year-old Alec Lansing died when he ran away from his Trails group.
All right, well, that was it for that. But there's a picture of the camp, I guess. So this is how the 12-year-old was taken away from his home, okay? The 12-year-old child was reportedly taken to the Trails, Carolina Wilderness Camp in Lake Toxaway, North Carolina, February 2nd of this year. According to deputies, the boy's parents consented to 2 men taking him from New York to the camp. This kid was from New York, and the parents let 2 men come in their home and take him to North Carolina, and he died within a day.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that, actually, Shauna. There's a lot of weird shit like this. Yeah, for sure, for sure. The child was placed in a cabin with other children and 4 staff members. However, at 8:10 a.m. on February 3rd, see, what does this mean? The child was placed in a cabin? No, he wasn't. He was in that pod. However, at 8:10, deputies responded to a call that the child was not breathing. Despite attempts to save him by camp staff and deputies, crews gave up. But I don't think they called right away. I don't think they called right away either. According to deputies, Trails Carolina Camp has not completely cooperated with the investigation. 2 members were placed on leave. Right here. $7.15 a day, enrollment fee of $4,900. It is accredited and licensed by DHHS. We went, a former teen says we went 17 days without showering. And this says that Alec kid died from a broken hip and hypothermia. So in 2021, they had 3 deficiencies: failure to properly administer medications, refusal to allow participants to call their parents, and making physical improvements to the facility without permission from state regulators. Prior to the notification of this death in 2024, DHS was last on site at Trails Carolina on June 12, 2023. Trails Carolina was founded in 2008 to help families and children who are struggling with significant mental health challenges. You know, these fuckers will just pick up and go to another state. You know, they'll just pick up and go to another state. Did you watch Hell Camp on Netflix? He went to another country. He even resorted to doing it on a boat because he couldn't do it anywhere else. He was getting shut down by the feds. It's awful. Proud patriot. I'm so glad you got out of that mess. The deaths at... we already read that. This is that guy. Jeremy Whitworth, the co-executive director. That's the co-executive director. Would you let this man send 2 men into your home to kidnap your child? What the fuck is wrong with people? This guy's business is kidnapping kids to further abuse them. In my opinion. Over state lines? I mean, this should be fucking illegal. Why is this not illegal? Why is it okay that parents can let their kids be kidnapped and abused? He is, Kels. Kathleen Riley spoke out at her time at the camp, calling it inhumane and beyond cruel. So they stayed open during COVID. And if you go to their stuff, you can email, Facebook. Their Facebook is gone. But look, their Twitter is still up. See this? They have no one following them. But look, 2020, look at their freaking, look at. Learning about solar energy in Science Steve's class. Oh, this kid looks really happy too. Nature offers a variety of positive experiences that challenge teens' beliefs that many situations in life are hopeless and meaningless, which is why we at Trails Carolina find wilderness therapy so effective in helping our students succeed. Yeah, doesn't he look happy? Trail students learn to observe their emotions rather than having a strong reaction and gain a deeper sense of themselves by learning to live in the moment. There's a lot of Reddit threads about them. See this one? Oh, she looks really happy too, doesn't she? She doesn't look happy or relieved. Forest bathing. Trails Carolina has developed a 5-year outcome study to allow us to better understand the efficacy of our program. Is your teen bullying? 5 ways to address bullying in teens. Look at this. Many teens have a problem accepting ownership of their actions. No, you guys do. You losers that are freaking running this camp. What to do when your kid is the bully. How to help your child. Look at this photo. Are you freaking kidding me? Outdoor classrooms. This is really disturbing. Addressing trauma in teenage years. Look at this. Hugs from the camp counselor. Why understanding inherited trauma is critical. Look at these photos. Understanding teen self-harm. Oh my God. Graduations and reunions are always emotional and special days. Oh, the staff gets nachos from coming back in the from the field. Practice and success in multiple settings to resemble the real world. I can't with this. One of our best parts of wilderness therapy is that sessions can happen anywhere. Look at this kid fishing. Look at this. PTSD can lead to aggression in teens. Look at this photo. Our Winding Gap campus, they have another campus, was especially beautiful this week and full of sunshine. Also featured is Brooke Stewart, our family programs coordinator, as she helped families through graduation, and primary therapist Sarah Hutchinson as she was writing outcomes for students. I wonder what these people think now. Success story, Jessica. Yeah, this is creepy. And then they played on the pandemic. Teenagers reflect on how their worlds changed during the pandemic. What is that? Family involvement in student outcomes. Look at that child. Her hair looks like it's either greasy or wet. This is her being reunited with her mom. Well, they make it look really good, you know. You know, a simple talk with your kid can avoid this. Meet Lindsay, our health and wellness director. Codependency in parent-child relationships. And I don't know. I just refuse to think this is good for kids. I think they play on parents who don't know what to do and want their money. That's what I think. So back to these, this has all of their annual reports and their deficiencies. Look at no documentation of education verification. No one told her that documentation was required. Unbelievable. So apparently this boy was having anxiety in this pod thing, and that's how they say this happened. But I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that it was him rustling around in there. He had no pants on. But I am going to show you a story from Reddit from 2019-ish. It says, My Trails Carolina story. So I don't think any of y'all will read this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I went to Trails Carolina around 2019-ish, and the first night I was getting death threats, and this one kid was saying that they would kill me in my sleep. While I was at Trails, this is 4 years ago. While I was at Trails, I got hypothermia and frostbite and now have Raynaud's disease. Other than that, Trails did end up helping me a lot, and I came out to my parents and discovered who I really am. Other than that, I do believe that Trails really needs to fix a lot of safety things and stuff like that, because I couldn't even go to the doctor for a week. When I got hypothermia, I thought that I would be coming home after Trails, but after, I ended up going to a therapeutic boarding school, which sucked. I just need to confide in you guys. And then he says, my parents said that I sent myself to boarding school because of my actions. That is BS. If you have any stories, if you've been to one of these camps, please email me. This guy says, 2 years ago, I was there when the kid died. He ran away and fell out of a tree and broke his leg. And then he says, no, I didn't know him personally. He was in the wilderness part of the program. I was at Trails Academy, which was more of a boarding school. It was all a scam. I went to Trails the summer of 2016. I'm not sure if it helped, and it was definitely awful. You are not alone. Hey, I just recently went to Trails and it sucked. I was in Omega and it was horrible. You are not alone. Even though I don't fight with my parents as I used to, I wish I didn't go. I was gone for the whole entire summer. The worst part is that my mom has cancer and I couldn't be at home to support her. It's horrible. 3 years ago. Hey, so I got out of Trails not too long ago, and it's been almost 6 months since graduating from the program. I spent my summer here this year, and I was at Trails for 77 days and in Foxtrot. I was lucky because my parents pulled me from the program because I needed to be back for school. I'm so lucky I was pulled from the program. I don't know what I would have been able to do if I had stayed any longer. My therapist told my mom she wanted me to stay there at Trails for another month and kept trying to talk my parents out of pulling me from the program. I was lucky not to have been gooned, which almost everyone in my group was. I was told ahead of time. Although I was lied to, I was told Trails would be a fun summer camp with many activities and I'd be able to have contact with my family over the phone, which was a complete lie. It was traumatizing, to say the least. When I first arrived at Trails, I was rushed away from my dad, who had dropped me off as soon as I stepped out of the car. There was about 3 women already waiting outside. My dad got out of the car and we hugged, but only for a short second because the women were rushing me and kept telling me to hurry and say goodbye. I remembered my dad had asked one of the women, me, will be able to make phone calls, right? To which the woman answered, we don't really communicate like that here, mostly letters, but she will be able to make calls to family and friends on holidays, which was also a lie. Hearing that made me realize that both I and my parents had been lied to. After that, one of the women told my dad I had to leave and time was up. I was not able to say anything else to my dad before being dragged to a small room and being forced to strip completely in front of 2 women while they watch. They gave me a pack and about 2 long-sleeve blue shirts along with a pair of pants and hiking shoes. They gave me a pack and made me walk through a long pathway, and they led me to a group of 4 other girls. All the girls were separated out in their own areas. Most of them were crying. I was confused as to what was going on and why so many of them were upset. I thought this was going to be a fun experience. The women that had stripped and walked me there left, and a man came up to me and helped me set up my tent and told me a therapist would be talking to me soon. He said to go sit away from the other girls, and he also said to be sure not to talk to any other girls in the group. He said if I did, there would be very bad consequences. I was with this group for about a week, which I learned was the quarantine group, which is the group you were with before your COVID results came back. Once everyone in the group was testing, we were separated into our actual groups. I was put into a group called Foxtrot. There were 12 other girls when I first arrived. Do not get me wrong. The girls in my group were amazing and I loved them. And I did meet some amazing friends there. But the Trails program and most of its staff is sick and awful. The program is one of the traumatizing things I have ever had to experience. They made us eat each peanut butter on tortillas every day for lunch. They made us eat oats for breakfast, which were almost always dry, and rice and beans for dinner. I'm not complaining because food is food, but it was rare we got other food. And here, then you saw it on the damn website. You saw that the people that worked there came back and got nachos. This is what these kids got. It was rare we got other food than that, and it's hard eating the same thing over and over again for months. By the end of my stay, I was sick of peanut butter. I almost threw up eating them, but I had to so that I could make min for the day and complete checkoff. I remembered sometimes we would get tuna for lunch, and one of my best friends there did not eat fish. She never had, and it made her very uncomfortable eating it. After she begged the staff to not have to eat the tuna, and after giving her reasons as to why she does not eat seafood, and after her parents sent in and said she didn't eat fish, the staff still made her eat it and forced her to, but they wouldn't allow other vegetarians in our group to get a separate meal, which I feel is so unfair. It was awful. I remember on one of my first days in Foxtrot, there was an awful hailstorm, and the staff made us sit in our soaked clothes under a tarp that almost gave no protection at all for over at least what had to be 2 hours in soaking wet clothes while it's still pouring down rain. Crazy about this was we're so close to base and could have walked to at least get out of the rain. But no, they made us sit in soaking wet clothes while the rain was pouring on us. The therapist did not help me at all. Never can I remember good advice she gave me. I cried almost every night to sleep. I didn't know what I had did to be treated like this. It was so awful, dangerous person. It was so awful, dangerous person. They didn't allow us to talk without them listening. They went through all our stuff. They went through journals we all had, which I was told personally, I had wrote many personal things in that journal through my stay. And when I found out staff would read it every night, that made me hurt. I wrote many personal things in there that I never wanted others to know. They strip you of all your human rights. Makes me sad knowing kids are there right now. I can't imagine what they're going through. I have so much more I could say about this awful place, but I've already typed a lot, LOL. But this did make my social anxiety worse more than anything. Is Trails did anything, it was worse than me. Parents, if you are reading this and think about sending your child there, please don't. Please do not put your child through this. Trust me, this is in my opinion, one of the most cruel and traumatizing things you could ever put your kid through. No child should go through this. You will only waste your money and cause your child trauma by sending there. Please do not send them. Trails is a complete lie and scam. And she puts it again at the end. Past grandchild catcher. Whatever that means. It's insane. Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.
See you later. Bye.